We're talking Negro. We're talking Moro. All right, Portuguese use of the Negro for Americans, man. We in African Native Americans, man. You know, red black peoples, man. Jack Forbes, let's go. Insofar as the use of Negro or its equivalents for Americans is concerned, it is well to begin our analysis with a brief review of usage in the Portuguese language. First, it must be noted that Europeans generally regarded the Americans as being of an intermediate color. Sound a lot like the 1828 Noah Webster Dictionary. Copper color race is found here. Most Nagas gonna fall in this brown spectrum, right? This copper spectrum. So, you know, same as these Nagas that they found here, right? You know what I'm saying? It just means, you know, that in your environment, this is how, you know, these Amaru Khans is coming out. They ain't no washed out, watered down African, da da da. These are a different tribe of Negroes, and this term Negra, specifically, there, you know, Jack Forbes is kicking that, you know, it's real specific to the Khans right here in India Superior, man, which they call India proper. You know, it's a real, they have to specify between this type of Negro or this type of Negro, you know, the African Negra and this Indios Negra, right? Negro. This intermediate copper color Naga, you know, this is the color of our tribes. It's not like, oh man, you've been watered down and washed out. Nah, boss. This is how they found us, my Naga. We a color of the soil. You know what I'm saying? This is our natural tribal color. All melanated tribes are not exactly the same. It's like saying, one, I got a black Rottweiler and I got a black Chihuahua. They're both black dogs, but both dogs ain't the same. You know, there's different species of dogs or cats. There's different species of humans or Nagas or tribes. You just got to understand it. All right, so let's go. So first, it must be noted that the Europeans generally regarded Americans as being of intermediate color, which they call Pardo, P-A-R-D-O, Laurel, or Barentino, or Alavastre, or, you know, olive. For example, 1519, it was said that the Brazilians, you know, they speak in Portuguese, that is, they are not black or white, but of olive color. Not black nor olive, copper color knives, all right? But the same writer also remarked that the Brazilian canoemen he saw were so black that they could have been taken for sailors of the Sea of Styx, S-T-Y-X, which they say is in hell. So he's so black, he must be in hell. So, like I'm saying, you got deep copper. Somebody said, well, what if you got an extreme amount of melanin? That's deep copper. That's not black. That's deep copper, man. We find the whole spectrum here from deep copper to light copper to intermediate copper. All right, so he's so black he could be in hell. Another Italian in 1533 described him as di color alabastro, olive color and almost black. In 1492, the Caribbean islanders were said to be of laurel color, white more than black, so they're light skin, red bone, you know what I mean? But in 1524, the Carolina coast people were said to be of a dark color, not much unlike the Ethiopians, man. Again, Ethiopia is a vague term for wherever these dark copper colored people are. Melanated Nagas, that is an Ethiopian. Melanated Nagas over here, that's in India. India and Ethiopia are both generic terms for you, brown copper colored Nagas, wherever they find you. That's where the India is. And if they're saying this is India Superior on the 1548 Gastaldi maps, and they're saying it's India proper here, and these other maps are saying this is Asia proper, and these are the Arab propers. Remember the Arab proper, man? Hey, man, a rabbi in Arab is a rabbi. I mean, all this is coming out the Hebrew flow right here in America. So, because you're talking Joktan, Yucatan, Joktan is popping off this Arabi, situation. Joktan is also called Katan, who was the first king of Yemen, you know what I'm saying? Son of Eber, Managa, son of Eber. So we're talking Eberu. Let's go. Carolina coast people were said to be of a dark color, not much unlike the Ethiopians, with lighter colored people further north. Thus, a range of color was perceived, with some being almost white and some being darker shades. Bang. 1549 through 1565, the letters of Jesuit missionaries in Brazil, usually addressed to colleagues in Portugal or Spain, frequently referred to the Americas as Negroes, the Americans as Negroes, as well as using terms such as gentiles or pagans, right? Remember the Papal Bull, Dum Diversus 1452, subjugate these Saracens and pagans. So the heathen is calling us a pagan. We call them heathen. They calling us pagan because we don't worship their Zeus, right? So either we pagans or gentiles, they're going to call us Gentiles. That's interesting, right? Because you're talking to the Hebrews in India Superior. Brasis, Brasis, like Brazil, and other forms of Brazilian and Indios. Now listen up. In April 1549, Manuel da Nobrega, the leader of the Jesuits, addressed a letter from Bahia to Simoa Rodrigues in Lisbon, in which he refers to the Portuguese in Brazil as living in sin because of their having many negras and lots of children by the said black women. So they in sin because they are mixing in with our sisters, all right? The editor, Serafim Lit, notes in a footnote, Negras. He says, Negras, Nim, Negros, da Africa, Anda, O, Nai, Havia. They speak in Portuguese. A few lines later, Nobrega refers to the Indios desta terra. Indios desta terra. Terra, what? Land? We talking new land? What are we talking about? Thus, the Jesuit father called the American women living with the Portuguese men negras, a term which, according to Liet, could not have denoted people from Africa, because in 1549 there were few or no African women in Bahia, Bahia. Nonetheless, Nobrega also uses the word Indio. So he's specifically using the term negras to refer to American women, all right? Negras. This pattern is repeated time and time again, as we shall see. What does it signify? It would seem that the Indios or Brasis of Brazil were in fact both Negroes and Indios, because Indios were simply a special regional kind of Negroes. We must bear in mind that Brazil was part of Las India or Indias, and that the geographical designation for people native to that would be Indian. Brazil was part of India's? India Superior? Or are we talking about the land being connected to that India over there? All connected. Now listen up. It says, but in addition to a purely geographical designation, they might also be considered to be Negroes, even as the people of India proper were often called Negroes. India proper, like India Superior. So the author might not understand yet that these are all one thing when they're talking about India proper and America, my naga. When Africans are referred to in the Jesuit letters, they are called Negros de Guinea, or blacks of Guinea, to distinguish them from Negros da Terra, blacks of the land or Americans. Jack Forbes popping off, man. Hey, we gonna continue this conversation. Shalom.